Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Silver King, and today I'm going to be teaching you about quilling. Now what you see in front of you is just, my little workshop, my desk. I've got all kinds of stuff just, piled up around here. Got what's in front of me right now is my quilling supplies. Glue, paper, tools, a rag, because you always want a rag to wipe your hands on. But before I get ahead of myself, let me go ahead and talk to you about certain items. To start off with quilling, you always want glue. Now, there's a bunch of different glues. A lot of people like tacky glue. I like Elmer's school glue, the non-toxic. It gets on your hands, just to make sure. This is just a cheap version, found it at the dollar store, works just as well. Now, sometimes I use Mod Podge. What I do is just coat my finished product with it, make it a little stronger, things like that. I'll put the school glue up. Knock that over. That's nice. Anyway, put the school glue in this little vial, with toothpick. All you really want is a little dab, and you put it on the paper, smooth the paper out, things like that. Comes in real handy. Toothpick stands up. Real easy, real simple. Now, there's different types of paper that I use. I'll use, quilling strips. I'll use construction paper, cardstock. This is actually made out of white quilling paper. I think the color is called eggshell. If you look real close, each one of these little circles is actually a 2-foot long strip. Now, this is just made out of notebook paper. You cut on the lines, you wind it around whatever you're using. I'll go over tools here in a minute, and you glue them together. I'm making an orchid out of that one. Now, if you watch my last video, you'll recognize this. This is the tail to the swan that I'm using. I made it out of different colors of quilling paper, and if you notice that you can see some glue in the back of it. That's actually Mod Podge that I've covered it in to make sure that it stays strong. I can literally fold this in my hand and it'll go back into shape. It's real nice. What I've been using here recently is just notebook paper. You cut along the strips widthwise. It's real thin, real nice, easy to work with. I'll show you that here in a second. Held it together with a binder clip. That over there is just something I threw together. Now, tools. Tools are important. I actually usually have a quilling needle. I can't find mine. So right now I've been using a screwdriver. Tiny glasses screwdriver. Real nice. Use this for traditional quilling. Most people like a slotted tool. I didn't want to buy one, so I made one. This is just a piece of dowel rod that I've put a little slit in. My camera's being weird right now, but you can see it better from this angle. And I will show you how to use both these things here momentarily. Now, I'd switched camera angles. It's kind of hard to hold it sideways and work with both hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how to do, traditional quilling. Usually I use a quilling needle. Again, I can't find mine. I'm using this little screwdriver. What you want to do is you want to take the first little bit of it and tuck it under whatever tool you're using so you can twist it like I'm doing right here. And all you got to do is keep spinning it and spinning it until you think that you've got enough. I take it off and I squish the ends to make sure everything's flush. You don't want to bend the paper or anything. Just make sure that, just in case you didn't get everything lined up while you were, twirling it on the screwdriver, it makes everything nice and lined up, makes it flush, and you really want things to be flush and the same size when you're working with them. Now, once you've got it all twirled up, you can see that hole in the middle of it. That's what I'm talking about traditional quilling. With the slotted tool, there's going to be a piece of paper in that. I don't personally like the way it looks. Some people do. Now, if you want something a little bit bigger, you just release the tension of your fingers and it'll twirl outward. Sometimes you want real tiny spirals, Sometimes you want really big ones. All you got to do, take a little dab of glue, dab it right there. If you use too much, it's not going to hold right, and it's going to look messy because the glue is going to dry. It's going to leave a lump. It's going to be real ugly. Trust me, I've made a ton of these things. A lot of them I've screwed up. Now, I'm going to squish this one into a teardrop shape. Now, the teardrop is what I use to make the swan tail. This one's just a lot smaller than the ones I've been using. Now, I made this slotted tool out of a piece of dowel rod, used an X-Acto knife, cut into it. All you gotta do is slip the piece of paper into the little gap and turn it. It's literally that easy. That's why people like using a gap tool, because you don't have to worry about lining up that piece of paper, putting it under whatever tool you're using and spinning it. It literally, you slip it in, you start turning, it's that easy. Now after a while it gets, too big for my tool because I made it. It's not a professional tool, it's just something I did on my own. So I take it off, twirl it just like I did the other one, let it out a little bit, that way it's bigger, easier to handle. Now if you look real close, you can see that there's a piece of paper right in the middle of it. That's from the gap. You can use another tool to push that paper to the side. I don't ever use this tool anymore, so I just don't worry about it. Again, just a little dab of glue. Excuse me, a little dab of glue. Fold it up over. I got a little glue on my hands. It's alright. And I think I'm going to squish this one into a star. All you gotta do is push equal force, all four sides. Comes out looking pretty nice, actually. And you can use all different kinds of shapes, all different ways. You can use them on borders. 3D quilling is what I'm into right now. Honestly, whatever tool you want to use, it's all about preference. Now, I've made these off camera here a little bit ago, and all I did was wrap them around the handle of that screwdriver. That way I can make them spacious enough for you guys to see, and I like working with these better than I do the spirals anyway. Now to put these together, just the same as you did earlier, you just put a little dab of glue right on the outside. I spread it out so it's real thin. That way it's not a lot of, like, as soon as it dries, you don't see a glob of glue. And usually I like to find the seams from where I had glued it previously and press those together. That way that under scrutiny, it looks better to me. I'm real bad about critiquing my own work and finding it that I don't like it. So any little thing that I do is just more personal than anything. Now if you want to make a triangle, you just put a little more glue right in the crevice and on both sides, and put another one of those little quilling beads that you made right in the center. And you spread the glue thin so it dries quickly. You can literally let go and voila, it'll hold. Now you make all different kinds of shapes, like these pyramids that I make pyramids, I make, diamonds, whatever geometry shape this is. I'm lacking at the moment, I think it's an octagon. And my personal favorite, I'm actually making a orchid flower. And this uses all different kinds of the geometrical shape. Excuse me about that, I had to find my tongue. Alright guys, so I'm back here a little bit later, and I've worked on this just a little bit. I just wanted to show you all the different kinds of shapes you could make with quilling. Now, oh, got my shadow in here. Here we've got a really, really bad teardrop shape that I'm ashamed of. Don't look at that. But here, these are actually my favorite shapes. They're diamonds. You can see I use them all over the place. Use swirls, different things like that. More diamonds. I really, really like the diamonds. Now what I'm doing here is I've spelled out joy in painter's tape, and I've actually cut it. That way it's the way I want, and don't look at that, I accidentally cut the cardstock. But then I just, I make the shapes. This is construction paper. I know the colors don't match. I'm doing that on purpose. And then I put the quilling beads all around it besides on the painter's tape. And then you pull the painter's tape off. If you're going to do this, make sure to be really careful with the painter's tape, because I've had problems. I don't know if you can see it, but see right there how it's pulling the cardstock up. I don't like that. I'm probably going to end up redoing this completely. But if you're using any kind of tape while doing this, be very careful. Now, you can do all different kinds of shapes, the spirals, half circles. That was a diamond that I turned into an S. I mean, literally all different kinds of shapes. See, there's a triangle, but as you can see, a lot of these, like this one right here, I used my slotted tool that I made. The spiral right there, I use my quilling needle. I alternate. I usually don't like using my slotted tool. I like using my quilling needle more than anything. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to tell you guys, always have a lighter handy. It helps with drying glue, things like that. Be careful, you don't want to burn yourself. You know, simple stuff. I mean, all you gotta do is think. Now, you guys tell me what you like, what you don't like. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, let me know. If you want to see more of that kind of stuff, let me know. Comment in the comments. Give me something to go off. Now, I've also worked on this today, and this is going to be a mask I'm working on. I'm working on dry brushing it right now. It's literally construction paper, cardboard, and painter's tape. That's the next thing I'm working on, is that. Now, and if you guys want to see the build video on that, I am working on editing it right now. Just let me know in the comments. Don't worry about liking, subscribing. I know that's not going to come for a little while. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you again next time.